Good morning and welcome to today's DIH Talk. My name is Santiago Uribe Diaz. I'm a digital transformation advisor at Lux Innovation. For those of you who are new to these talks, we have a discussion window where you can interact throughout the session and send messages. There is also a questions window where we encourage you to put all the questions that you have for the speakers during the sessions. And at the end of the session, we will have a Q&A where our speakers will gladly answer to all those questions. So today's topic is digitalization fast track, achieving quick wins and rapid results. This is an interesting topic because in the digital world, a lot of people think that for digitalizing, you always need a lot of money, a lot of time, and doing big projects. Yes, there are these type of projects out there, but there are also very interesting projects that require low investments, low amounts of time, and that have significant impacts in your company and that can really make a difference in your productivity and your competitiveness. So today we will focus on those projects and give you examples of the things you can do in this direction in your companies. So now I want to introduce you to the DIH services. So the DIH, the Digital Innovation Hub, our main goal is to digitalize the small and medium-sized industries in Luxembourg, and we do it in different ways. So we have, well, first of all, very important, all the services are 100% financed by the EU and Luxembourg. So of course, this is interesting for the companies. No invoices, no administrative procedures. And yes, to tell you a bit about our services, we have assessments. So in the assessments are questionnaires that you can do online or with our help in your factory. And you can discover what are you missing in the digitalization terms. So are you missing something in cybersecurity, in automation, in different topics? We can guide you so you can discover what are the best digital projects for you, what you should do next. Then in terms of cybersecurity, we work very closely with the Luxembourg House of Cybersecurity. They also have an assessment which tells you how good or how bad the cybersecurity is in your company. And after this assessment, they can do a workshop with you to give you solutions and to tell you as well what should you do to improve your cybersecurity. They also have a very interesting initiative called the Room 42. This is a real simulation room in the Luxembourg House of Cybersecurity. So you can go to this room with your team, and the idea is to simulate a cyber attack. So to your company, like with your real data and everything. So it's an excellent opportunity for you to prepare and to know what to do the day that you have a real cyber attack. Then skills and trainings, we work with the University of Luxembourg. So they can do a training roadmap for you. They can support you on this. So the idea is that they analyze what are the training needs of your employees, what are the topics that interest your staff, and what are the topics that you need as a manager. Then they do a match, and with this information, they can do with you a roadmap for the trainings of the next year in your company. Then we have technology tests. Here we work with the LIST, the Luxembourg Institute of Science and Technology. They do on-hand technology workshops. So these are sessions in which you go to the LIST. They give you a computer and they talk about different trending technology topics. They train you in these topics, but in a very interactive way because you will get to learn how to use tools and you have access in the computer. So everything the trainer is presenting, you can do yourself. So it's a very interactive way to learn. And there's also the Test Before Invest program. So let's imagine that you want to invest on an ERP, on a digital tool, but you're not really sure if the investment is worth it because, I mean, these things cost money. If you have a situation like this, you can reach out to the LIST and participate on a Test Before Invest. So they will analyze the tool with you, with your data, and you will see how it works, if it's really what you would expect as a solution. And then, thanks to this analysis, you can take a good decision and invest or not on these new tools. Then finally, we have the awareness on funding. So these are webinar sessions like the one we're having today, but those are completely oriented on us presenting you what are the funding opportunities from the Luxembourg government to the companies. And now, before introducing you to our speakers, I would like to ask your help. We're trying to find out what is the preferred language for these sessions from all our participants. So it's super simple. If you want to help us, you just need to scan the QR code that you're seeing in the screen and answer if you would like these sessions in the future to be in English, French, or German. Maybe you speak all those languages, but our idea is to find out the number one preference for each participant. Let's put it like this. So yeah, I just leave this for 5 seconds so you can vote. Thank you very much. So now, please help me welcoming today's speakers, Jeremy Jan, founder at Control C, and Fabrice Hansen, founder and CEO of Industream. Yes, welcome, both of you. Happy to have you here.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hello.
So first, Jeremy will speak, and then Fabrice. So the floor is all yours, Jeremy. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah, I guess you'll share the presentation. Yeah, perfect. Well, I will go back to the first slide. Sorry. We did some tests just before the session. So, well, thank you. I'm Jeremy, founder at Control C. You have my email here if you want to mail me after the session. No problem. Today we'll talk about some quick win project we had in the past month. But first, I wanted to, we'll go through 7 different projects. You can see the logos here. But before that, I just want to do a small reminder about what a quick win project is for me. For me, it's when it comes to calculating a return on investment of a digitalization project, is sometimes quite difficult because the impacts are of 2 types. It can be either a direct impact, measurable, like cost reductions or revenue growth, but it could also be indirect impact, more long terms, like staff satisfaction, loyalty, quality improvements, and so on. But at the end of the day, it will more or less drive that impact to cost reduction or revenue growth. And those tools are really important. And I wanted here in the 7 different projects that I will show to really explain you what are the direct impacts and the indirect impacts. So let's talk about the first project, Carbon. I know that I have like 20 minutes to speak, so I have 7 projects to show, so I know that I will be quite quick, and if you have any question, you can keep them for after the session, or as I said, you can mail me. So first project here, Carbon, is a company that has more or less 50 different bus and vehicles, and the drivers are doing some activities. It could be adapto, it could be taxi, standard taxi activities, and so on. And the project was to build a very simple application for the drivers to enter and to get rid of the paper. So basically, when we started the project, we had such a sheet of papers in front of us. You can see them. On the left, there is a request for holiday. Everything was based on paper. In the middle, you see the different information that a driver should enter on a daily basis. So with the mileage, with the timings, all the activities, and so on. And we actually built something very, very simple. Not because we need to build complex with a lot of buttons. It just needs to be as simple as possible with less button, less information. Just keep it very simple. So we see on the left what was the original file, and then on the right what is the actual application. So it's a web application accessible everywhere. When you have internet, you can just click on the button to add an activity, enter all the informations, and that's all. So it goes to the back office of Carbon in real time, and then at the end of the week we have something like this with all the activities. Everything is calculated directly. All the holidays are taken back, and so on. So all the data is then centralized into that very small application. When it comes to the calculation of the return on investment, and for each project I've done something like this, I'm providing you with some ideas about the costs, so the budget, and the direct and indirect impacts. So here we're talking about 6,000 euro of investment for, as I said, more or less 50 different drivers and users, plus 2 or 3 in the back office. They told us that it's more or less 10 hours every week, just because they don't need to copy that from one sheet to an Excel files and so on. And the indirect benefits are better communication with the team, because you just can talk with the team through that application as well. The staff satisfaction is increasing because they are not losing paper. They are not mainly losing the different. They know, for example, where they are doing an holiday request. They know where the process is, and so on. And it's also a more accurate data when it comes to calculating the salary slip with all the informations about how many hours they worked and so on. So that's quite interesting and a quite quick win project here. Second one is regarding the Rocal. So the Rocal came to us with a very simple request here, is to provide a clear and integrating view of the planning and all the different events that are happening at the Rocal. The purpose also was to have something very, very easy to use, something that you can check with your phone easily in a couple of clicks. So the app looks like this. It's something you can use on your phone. You have the calendar here on the left, and I don't know if it's big enough in your screen, but you have all the events. I blur the name because they asked me to, but you can see that if you click on an event, you can see all the details about the place that were sold, the target capacity, and something that is very important for them is the allocated staff. It means that you can see the names of people who are handling the events, who is doing what are the timings, when are the door openings, and so on. So everything is centralized, and it's coming from their back office tool, which is Widgets, and the data is refreshed on a hourly basis. So everything is always up to date. Here also very simple web application, 2,500 euros more or less. Direct savings is, of course, saving times to research and asking the right information. So you know that if you open the app, you will get the latest information, the updated one, and then you are centralizing all the information, all the data. It's also better communication with the team, so everyone knows where to find the information. So no more phone calls, no more yelling at your colleague to know who's handling what. Everything is in the app. Third project is for a transportation company, TS Lux. They have 80 different trucks driving all around Luxembourg. And the project was to do all the verifications, all the checks for the fuel invoice. the idea is to detect anomalies, and the verification and the checks should be done based on the CAN bus. So the CAN bus is the track computer, I would say. So we can collect some information from the truck based on the CAN bus, but we can also use the track position, so the location and the driver position, because this could be two different things, as a driver can drive multiple trucks within a day. So the app is also quite simple. We have something like this. So we are getting all the information from the invoice, from the transactions. So we see the number of liters that were fueled. We see where and when this transaction was done, and which driver has that transactions. We are doing all the checks programmatically, so it means that everything is done through APIs, no manual action, and at the end we have an answer of the system that looks like this. So for example, for this specific transaction, it's telling us that the two checks were done correctly, and we see that we have a difference in the CAN bus that is 6 kilometers, because we are getting the information from a given date. So it means that this information has been recognized and checked correctly, and based on the position of the truck, we've calculated a distance of 3 meters from the station to the truck. So for that transaction specifically, we know that everything is correct, and we can validate that line automatically. So today we more or less have 95, even more now, 97, I think, transactions that are automatically validated. So it means that we still have 3% to validate manually. It means that, for example, it's a driver that didn't mention the right mileage, or he didn't wrote the right reference, or whatever. All those things could happen, but we also see that there is some quite nice improvement since the last month, as the drivers are more aware of this, and they are doing and are writing also the better information and the good information. So these small applications and all the connections through the different APIs of the different tools around it is also an investment of €4,000. The direct impact is up to 8 hours per month that are saved. So the more accurate we are, of course, the less manual work remains. And it's also a good way of for the data to be captured. For example, when it comes to calculations of the fuel consumption, also to provide some feedback to the driver when it comes to eco driving. I think it's even more important nowadays with the prices of the fuel, and it also allowed them to have some theft preventions, of course, as we can show the different anomalies directly. Next project is regarding Cocotte. We are doing a lot of things at Cocotte, all the digitalization, but here it's a very small project that we had regarding stock management and out of stock. So the purpose was to understand where those out of stocks are happening and why they are happening. So we actually built a very simple out of stocks alert system that looks like this. So it's a very simple table with 2 dimensions. You can see the desert here on the left, and all the different point of sales vertically. So you have, for example, you see that the first one, which is the point of sales grass, we can see that some colors in the cells that shows actually all the alerts. So if it's a yellow one, it's a low level alert. If it's a dark red one, it's a high level alert. So for example, we see that for the tiramisu, we have an alert, a dark red one. If you click on it, we can see what happened that day. So for example, here at Cocotte Grass, we see that this out of stock alert happened at before 11 in the morning. So it was 10:58. So it means that the customer, if you were a customer that were entering the Cocotte Grass shop at 11, and if you wanted a tiramisu, then there was no more item on the shelf. So that's a bit frustrating for the customer. It might be a bit frustrating if the customer really wanted to have that tiramisu. So it's something that they really want to handle differently. And this app allows them to really handle and propose solution to such a problem. So in terms of investments and costs, also some things around 4,000 euro. The direct impact is quite difficult to estimate because if you are running out of stocks, you probably don't know if you miss a sale of, or if your customer bought something else, or if he was frustrated or whatever. So you don't know exactly how the customer is behaving. But with this solution, they can now have a better stock management. So it means that they can propose solution, for example, ordering more, or organize also transfer between the point of sales. Like at midday, you can see that there's still a lot of remaining stock on one point of sales. We can try to organize the transfer from one post to another one in order to decrease the customer frustrations of not having the tiramisu he wants. Next project is for Marie Faber, which is a lawyer in Belgium, and she's working alone with her assistant. And the project was to split the big PDFs into smaller documents. So she's receiving a lot of mails, paper mails every day, and she wanted to have something that could really help her in extracting and classify all those documents. So what she's doing today, she's opening all the letters, she's scanning everything, and this is generating a big PDF. It could be up to 100 pages. And you are taking that big PDF and we are actually doing an automatic split of the PDF and automatic data extraction and metadata extraction in order to then push that into the document management system. So here is a very simple example. I only took a 9-page PDF, but it could, as I said, be up to 100 and even more. So we have a big PDF with different documents inside it. And after the processing, we actually define which metadata we want to extract from those documents. So here we have the year, we have the month, we have the person that mail is related to, and I guess you maybe cannot read it, but the type of document. So here it could be an invoice, could be a contract, it could be some declaration, it could be any kind of different type. You can define them within the tool. And then you're also providing some instruction to rename the document. So it's not compulsory, but it's optional, and it makes things easier for further processing. And if you're looking at these 9 pages document, the process ends like this. And you can see here that we actually split it automatically, this 9 pages PDF into 5 different documents. There is a 1 page here, 2, 3, and 1. And everything, I'm showing my mouth actually, but I think you cannot see it. But you see that the type was extracted. It has renamed the document with the date of the document. It has actually found who was concerned in that document, and so on. So everything is actually extracted from the document, and it actually generates, at the end of the process, it generates those smaller PDF directly into the document management system. So when it comes to the cost, here it's actually included into our Picobello subscription. Picobello is a tool that we've been building in the past months at Control C, and we are starting to selling it publicly. So if you want to have further information, please let me know. But it's more or less the basic subscription that includes this functionality, and direct impact is 1 hour saves per day. And I guess we'll get even more than that, because we'll then also automate the processing of the document. Like, for example, if it's an invoice that needs to be paid, then you can already extract the information about who needs to be paid, what is the amount, and so on. And of course, as everything is then classified, you can also have some indirect impacts like time savings for searching documents. It recognizes all the metadata and so on. Next project is regarding BATS, construction company. And it's a bit the same as for the lawyer. It's data extraction from various documents and do some checks on those documents. So the first example we did there was weighing tickets. So they are building a lot of concrete. They are buying a lot of sand from various places. And if you look at the weighing ticket, this is a paper that the driver is receiving. It could sometimes be very, very dirty or unreadable. And the AI here is doing a quite great job to extract some structured data. So here, for example, the information that we want is the date, probably the net weight, the type of sands, and so on. And if you're comparing that to standard OCR and AI data extraction, the AI is actually understanding the document in its entire it understands it entirely. So it means that it can really understand, okay, this is a weighing ticket. There probably is some information regarding the net weight and the different weight, and it could also prepare some calculations, some checks directly by just prompting it correctly. So here you see that with the AI, you already get information quite clean and quite structured, and we can then put that information back to their system. And we've been doing that with the weighing ticket, and then we do that same logic with a lot of different types of documents. It could be some delivery bonds, it could be some insurance documents, some transportation, exceptional transportation from the Ministry of Economy, Lux Control, SNCT, and so on. So all the documents, PDFs, are collected and going through that process of validation. So it's also 5K in total, more or less saved hour. The customer told me up to 50 hours per month, so it's quite impressive. And something that was really not expected is that they actually find out some savings based on invoice verification. So told me that it could be between 3,000 and 5,000 per month. So yeah, the return on investment is quite interesting here, as within 1 month you kind of covers your investment. I see that I'm running a bit late. Just I'm going to go strictly to the last one, which is a document manager system for a fiduciary. The idea was to generate some contractual documents based on the database of all the customers, where you can actually check which are the different services that the customer is getting. And by just clicking on the button, it generates the contract automatically with some sections, some paragraphs that are added automatically based on the selection of the selected services. And also here, quite low investment and 4 hours per month saved with with some indirect benefits like data lowering the risk of copy-paste mistakes within the different documents, which have a quite big impact. So thanks for your attention, and feel free to reach in the chat if you have any question.
Thank you so much, Jeremy, for this interesting presentation.
You're welcome.
So now we welcome again Fabrice, and let me bring your presentation.
Good morning, everyone. Happy to be there to present a few use cases as well. let's say that we are focusing on the industry, so that means manufacturing plants, and I would say use cases are not exactly the same as what Jeremy presented, but can be also, of course, linked to this type of use cases. So we'll go through the presentation and first give an introduction of how we monitor usually, I would say, the industrial plants. So using well-known OEE calculation, overall equipment effectiveness, that combines availability, performance, and quality, that has been recently extended due to the cost of energy and the pressure of the environmental regulation to also include the energy consumption as a fourth pillar. So this green OEE is then the basis for the assessment and the monitoring and the improvement of the operational of the operation in the industrial plant. And let's say at InduStream, we created an AIoT platform that is focusing on hybrid AI approach. So being able first to ingest multimodal data that can be time series data coming from industrial sensors like temperature, pressure, and so on, but also being able to ingest video streams coming from industrial camera for quality checks and so on. And recently also integrated the sound that can be very useful to capture also the environment, as well as detect leakages, for example, and things like this. So the having, I would say, access to this live data, we can assess, monitor, and then improve the situation by combining different type of modeling. So, of course, the knowledge already available in the domain expert heads and standard operation procedures, then enriching this with physical model, or what we call first principle models, that can be mass energy balance, thermodynamics, kinetics of chemical reactions, but also fluid dynamics, simulation, discrete element modeling, or other type of advanced engineering simulation capabilities. And then on top of that, we can also integrate data-driven models. I would say this type of time series data-driven model like LSTM, but also integrate LLMs and augmented LLMs with domain-specific data, RAGs. And we can see that there are already hybrid AI available, I would say, by combining the different type of knowledge. And our sweet spot is really to try to offer the best tools to our customer to assess first the situation, because we use first the data to assess the current situation of the plant, and then we use this type of modeling to improve the situation. So the core is a no-code AIoT platform where you can capture and digitize the knowledge from the different domain experts. You can create complex analytics. You can, of course, use the platform to acquire the data. But you can also integrate different kind of models and infer, for example, data-driven models through Python or NX. We have also an LLM assistant that can be available if you have an online connection, but also we have the possibility to deploy it locally when there are, I would say, some constraints on the industrial side, and deploy a local LLM and RAG directly at the customer. So the also big advantage is that we can, especially for the inference of the data-driven model, we can replay these models and evaluate the results of these models if they would have been in place since the beginning. We can also use it for the data scientists to fine-tune these models and to test the models after the retraining. Let's switch to the use case. You will see the two use cases I selected may seem a bit bigger than what has been presented before, but both started as proof of concept. So that means they've been extended over the time once the customer was convinced by, I would say, the benefits of doing this type of use cases. So the first one is a waste recycling plant in Austria, where that's a new plant that was built in 2024, and where the customer wanted to have an official report for the authorization of exploitation delivered by the TÜV in Austria. So they started, I would say, the plant with a data collection of the 200 main tags about the emissions, or the main variables and information about the production and emissions, with the goal and of course also the constraints to be able to supply the history of the data the last 18 months. So we installed our platform, our first version of the platform there, to acquire the data, to store this data, and to create 11 dashboards, and to create then the automated reports. So all this work was done in, I would say approximately 1 month. And then I would say recently they contacted us to extend this, to acquire much more variables, not only to, I would say, to fit the requests of the TÜV certification, but also to understand the process and the production. So we migrated to our new version and extended the data acquisition from 200 tags to 1,200 tags, so 6 times more. But in order to avoid a big mass of data, we also applied our semantic model and structured the data by production assets in our asset catalog, and switch from 18 months history to unlimited data history. We created additional dashboards and made the training also to the customer to be able to extend by themselves in the future the system. So this was done in 3 days only, and thanks to the new functionality of the new version of the platform, we've been able to apply ISA S95 semantic model, but also being able to even deploy additional models in order to target the different profile of users, and so they can browse the data through their profile. Process people are more willing to see the data according to the plant production structure. Maybe maintenance people wants to see per type of equipment, and so on. So this asset hierarchy, I would say, is used to organize and structure the data in order to be able then to consume the data in a natural way that is corresponding to your vision, your own vision of the plant. The second side effect is that it's an abstraction layer that is allowing to make generic rules, but also dashboards and models. So that means it enables transfer learning. So that means for customers who have several plants, you can apply the same rules and not using directly, I would say, the specific addresses or variables for a single plant, but have a more generic approach. How have we been able to, I would say, speed up the data acquisition and the generation of additional visualization? By integrating, I would say, LLM and MCP servers, so this model context protocol API, that is server that is connecting to the API of the application, in order to be able to use LLMs to automate some part of the job, like doing the data acquisition and the configuration of the data acquisition based on simple Excel files received from the customers. And this is really the way we are further developing the platform in order to take all the advantages. And this is our roadmap for this integration of the LLM and I would say MCP directly in the architecture. First is to do the data acquisition, to configure the data catalog from various type of I would say IO lists received from the automation department, but also, for example, process min-max values received from the process foreman. Integrate all this and then generating automatically new dashboards using, for example, Grafana MCP that is compliant with our no-code data source for Grafana. That is really helping to reduce the time that was usually required to configure this heavy task. Then we are working on developing, I would say, integrating LLM agents directly in the core of the platform, being able in the future to convert, I would say, the standard operation procedures, turn them into configurable flows directly into the core of the platform. And then the next step we are working on is to give the possibility to the operator to talk to the platform. So instead of being trained to, I would say, to understand in which menus they have to go to access this kind of information, they will be able in a short future to directly talk to the platform, request what is the status of this equipment, what is the current OEE, show me the dashboard with this type of information, and so on. So this is accelerating continuously, and we try to stay use the latest technology in order to get the full benefits and reduce further the implementation of these use cases. Then I would say we implemented the OEE calculation in 1 week for the main equipment to follow up the stoppages, record also the downtime, and identify the potential future use cases to further improve the operation. I switched to a second use case that also is even bigger than the first one, but started as a proof of concept. So a German electric arc furnace, so steel producer, contacted us because they had unstable operation, I would say, on the electric arc furnace. They had quite a lot of unplanned downtime. So they contacted us to reduce the downtime and reduce the tap-to-tap time by 20%. So the first thing is we applied, I would say, our strategy of acquiring the data, but then using the data to make the assessments of the current situation. And so we created dashboards, so without models, just visualization dashboards to be able to dig into the production data. And we quickly have seen that there was strong irregularities in the tap-to-tap time. That was a trigger, I would say, and that was already available after 3 weeks, 3 weeks including the deployment of the platform, the configuration of the data acquisition. And again, this could be now even shortened thanks to the usage of the LLM. Based on the irregularities we started with our data scientists to make the data analytics and identify, I would say, the good and bad production batches, what we called golden eats. And we calculated, I would say, the potential, I would say, savings we could do just by eliminating one unplanned downtime. It was about 3 minutes. So together with the customer, then we went to the next phase of, I would say, uploading the failure history of this plant in order then to identify what were the main contributors to these failures. So we made, again, analysis, created reports, and presented these reports after 6 weeks to the customer. And then together we selected the first use case to tackle, where we would like to, and where we believe together with the domain expert from the customer that there is potential to act or to counteract and to reduce this downtime. And we implemented a better detection of this. There was some overheating, I would say, in the cooling panel. I will not enter too deep in the technical details of this process, but we've been able to identify at least what the symptoms that could be seen when there is a problem. And the first step was to implement some better detection in order to react quicker, and then to put in place some containment measures to target these symptoms. was the first step. Then I would say we used the golden EATs to make a comparison and what we call a golden pattern comparison in order to give them in real time the possibility to see where they are in the current production batch compared to the golden EATs, in order to identify, I would say, where they are and how they could, try to act in order to stay within this golden pattern. So we put in place this kind of, golden batch visualization in real time in the control room. And that was the first step, I would say, to try to correct the root causes of the problem. So the next step was really to focus on the process root cause. And in an electric arc furnace, this is mainly coming from the process, and the overheating is coming because the process is not so good and there is not enough slag foam to protect the heat walls and to insulate, I would say, the cooling panels from the radiation of the hot steel. So we put in place a first principle model that is a mass and energy balance, fed directly integrated into the platform, fed by the live data of the plant in order to have an idea and a prediction of what is the current temperature, what is the quality of the chemical composition of the slag. And the first step was to use only, I would say, this first principle model. And then we use AI, I would say, to build an hybrid model in order to correct, I would say, the prediction and the forecast of these process values, where we can see here, I would say, during the normal operation, I would say the operators are quite blind. They only take 2 or 3 temperature measurement at the end of the batch production. So having this real-time forecast is helping them to react quicker and to avoid these big deviations. And by combining the physical model with the data-driven model, we've been able to reduce the error of the prediction that we can see when we have some measurements. So this was done, and this was running live in the control room after 9 months. But okay, all these steps have been decided together with the customers. As I said, it started just with a simple assessment and then step by step going toward the operational improvement. Then we also extended this model with, I would say, the meltdown degree. So that will be, I would say, a big step to decrease the tap-to-tap time, not targeting the unplanned downtime, but optimizing the timing of the charge of the solid scrap into the liquid bars by having an estimation of the melt of the scrap in order to charge the next basket at the right time. And you can see on the top red portion the time we can save for each basket, because that means we could have charged the next basket way earlier. So this is a direct savings on the production throughput. And then I would say, yeah, so this is the current state of this project. Started with a proof of concept, then was extended and also turned into I would say, a state subvention project I would say, subvention by the German state, where we have been able to achieve savings after, I would say, the first 6 months. We had already reached 10% of reduction of the tap-to-tap time. They reviewed, and with the, I would say, together with the organization that is reviewing this funded project, it was decided to extend for this funded project by 1 year in order to further develop the process improvement and to reach the 20% of tap-to-tap time reduction. I would say that's somehow getting close to the end of this presentation. And I would say my key takeaway I would like to tell you is that by applying this kind of proof of concept and then I would say optimization project, you can really have a better insight on what's happening in your company, unleash the data potential, and bring transparency to your current production. You can start small, but think big to extend step by step to do this continuous improvement approach. Having a clean and structured data is enabling the upscaling of these small use cases to cover the later on more equipment or even going to the entire plant. That's also very good to integrate this structured data since the beginning in order to be able to maintain the solution over the time. Because we have seen a lot of proof of concept that are just dying because they are unmaintainable over the time. And as I said already, this is also enabling the transfer learning and replicating what you have done on one plant, one equipment to the other one. What is very important, and there was a lot of failures in the past by doing data-driven only. So companies came and said, we can solve everything with data-driven approach, with AI. That's not our philosophy. First, you have to trust and digitize your domain expertise. Then you can enrich, you can, I would say, reach the next level of improvement by integrating AI. And what is really nice is, I would say, that's has just confirmed what we all know, is that a stable process, an optimized process is the key for all improvement. So it means having a better insight is helping to enter in this, I would say, virtuous loop of optimizing the process, giving better production, better operation, and decreasing the cost of production. Nowadays, integrating LLMs and the latest technologies is really helping to speed up this type of implementation. So you can start small. They are quick proof of concept, and I didn't put it in the slides, but you can start also in the same kind of range as what Jeremy has explained before. With 5K, you can start with a proof of concept. Of course, if you want to turn it into, I would say, online production improvement, you have then to extend this to include all the safety boundaries and things like this. But also our platform is designed to target SMEs, so that means start really small and then scale up with reasonable pricing. What is also good is that, let's say, there are a lot of help and fundings available in Luxembourg. We are officially Fit for AI consultants, and through these Fit for AI programs, we can help you and support you to identify, I would say, use cases, and then use the SME packages, for example, SME packages sustainability, for example, for the energy improvement, SME packages AI or digital, to also, I would say, support the implementation of these improvements in your plan. That's it for my presentation. If you have any questions or want to contact me, here are my contact details.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Fabrice, for this interesting presentation. So, sorry, it's this one. Yes, thank you, Fabrice and Jeremy. So now is the time for answering the questions. There are no questions from the users, but I entered in a few of them to drive further the conversation and complement the interesting topics that you explained us. I think it can be interesting for everyone. So the first question is, do you think that AI is contributing to quick win projects? How is this technology helping in this approach?
I think on our side at Control C, we are using AI to to bootstrap some projects. So it means that it can bring can quickly bring some UI, some stuff, some tangible project to the customer. I can take a very simple example. A couple of weeks ago, we were discussing a planning for a customer. He wanted to digitalize something he was doing in an Excel, and nowadays with AI, you can just try to copy or take a screenshot of the Excel and put that into an LLM, and it can propose you some applications. Of course, it's only part of the project. It's not a finished project at all. It's still requires a lot of work behind, but that's still the customer can directly see something in action. So it's a good starting point for discussion. Say, okay, maybe I want to do it that way or that way, and so on. So I think AI is helping a lot in such approach.
I can just confirm, of course, and I presented somehow already that AI is in the core of our approach. So really speeding up the data acquisition on our side on the I would say industrial applications. As Jeremy mentioned as well, I would say doing a mock-up or I would say giving an idea quickly to what kind of dashboards or visualization screen could be proposed to the end customer. And that's really helping to go in an agile way and to quickly, because not everybody is able to put himself, I would say, in the conditions if you have not really a screen in front of you. And that's really where I see the advantage of these mock-ups that looks close to, I would say, a real UI, to quickly define together if it's meeting the requirements and the needs of the end customer. Then you can develop the real application.
Perfect. Thank you, Jeremy and Fabrice, for these insights. The second question is, one of the biggest challenges in digitalization is the acceptance of change from the people. Making them see the quick wins can be a solution for this. Which strategies do you recommend for companies to make people understand these quick wins on digitalization projects?
Fabrice, you can.
Yeah. Let's say we usually try to integrate as soon as possible, as early as possible, I would say, the different stakeholders in the discussions, and not just discuss with the top management of the plant, but try to involve the people giving their ideas and try to show them that we integrate these ideas into the system, and going regularly to them to present I would say, the new things, validate with them. Using the agile methodology, I think it is key, and having all the stakeholders that will be using the system at the end involved since the beginning of the project.
I think we have the exact same approach at Controversy. I think involving all the end users is really important in the early phase of the project, because the users will really feel like it's their own project. It's not something that is coming from somewhere else, and it's really their project, their tool, and the acceptance is then facilitated.
Thank you both for this insight. And finally, to give a bit of context to my last question, one of the biggest obstacles for adopting AI nowadays we see is that companies don't have valuable data available. So my question was, any quick win strategies in terms of data collection? How can a small company achieve valuable data collection in short amounts of time, if this is possible?
I can comment on that, and that's exactly why InduStream developed the InduStream platform. I would say to be able to collect this data quickly. Now I'm talking about the industrial side, being able to talk to any kind of automation system, talk to MES, ERP, and things like this to get the information, and that's why we integrated directly this I would say, data lake storage into our platform with all the different connectors, and then combining with the, I would say, with the LLM approach to be able to understand and quickly extend the drivers that we have and create a tool belt where we can become quicker and quicker from projects to projects. Yeah, that's our approach, at least for the industrial side.
Yeah, I think the approach for us is it's a bit the same. I also see that people believe that AI is magic most of the time, because here, yeah, it's not directly related to AI, but you mentioned it in the question. It's never like magic like this. We need to first indeed prepare the data. So most of the time, data is split it everywhere. We need to collect, we need to structure it before starting working on it. That's indeed very, very important. And I think there are a lot of tools available on the market, and the one that Fabrice and his team developed is one of them. That allows that kind of process of data collection and data manipulation, transformation, data cleaning is now easier than in the past.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for complementing these insights, and thank you everyone for your participation. I leave this QR code in the screen where you can check all the next events from the DIH. And yes, very happy to have you here today. Thank you again, Jeremy and Fabrice.
Thanks a
Thank
lot.
you.
Bye bye.
Thanks. Have a nice day. Bye bye.
Bye, nice day.